Hello there, welcome back to the Smell of Logic channel where we read Reddit stories. I am Ramona. Um, we're going to be doing some stories today about what's your no one will ever believe this true story. And we hope most of these are true. Some of these could just be made up, but they're fun to listen to anyway. I'm putting out on Amazon a lot of coloring books lately. So if you're interested in coloring, you know somebody who likes to color just random shit for relaxation or stress relief or just because they're bored, hey, go check that out. My Amazon authors page, I think, is in the description. If not, I'll make sure it is. But go check that out. I've been working pretty hard on some of those. And there'll be new ones coming out hopefully every week. So I try to price them as low as I can. And just because I enjoy it and it's something to do. So here we go. Ready? On with the video. When I was little, I lived on the reservation with my parents. One Sunday morning, I got up early and went into my mom's room and asked if I could watch cartoons, but my mom told me to go back to bed. I got back into bed, and at the end of the bed was this horrifying black dog-looking thing just staring at me. It started silently barking at something at me, then dropped back down behind the bed. I pulled my blanket over my head and waited a few minutes as it got lighter, and then went and looked, but I saw this thing, and there was nothing there. See, there's stories of the black dog um, representing death to come, and my grandfather actually saw that right before he passed away. So I am a believer in that. OP doesn't mention if that's what actually happened, but anytime you see a unusual black dog, I personally would get a little concerned. That's just me. I was peeling hard-boiled eggs, and my two little girls, aged 3 and 4, came up and begged to peel some of their own. They had a hard time starting to peel, so I rolled the eggs on the counter to crack them first, and I made sure they both had a couple pre-cracked eggs, and went back to peeling my own eggs. A little while later, my daughter asked me to start her egg for her, as it was whole again. No cracks at all. The first thing I thought was, no one will ever believe me. I met Elvis once. He was standing by slot machines in Vegas smoking Camel cigarettes. He said, "Hey there, young man, do you want to earn a tip?" And I said, "I don't work here." And he said, "Hey, do it for Elvis. They don't sell no more to me." So he gave me some money and went to the bar and bought a whiskey for him and a brandy for me, and we drank for about an hour and sang along with the jukebox, and he gave me a pill which made me feel really awake and positive. Then I had to go and meet my girlfriend because she was finished looking around North Vegas, so I left. The weird thing is that I thought he died in 77. A few months ago, I was on a scout camp. It went like any other scout camp goes. All the patrol leaders had to have a meeting about the camp and the plans later on the camp. That afternoon, this one kid starts acting creepy and says he has sleep paralysis. No one believed him. He continued saying that he could see demons walking around him. Myself and 3 others didn't believe him, so we asked him where he got corrupted. He told us over the fence and through the trail. Myself and 3 others walked to this location he told us about and jumped the fence. As he explained, there was a trail. We followed the trail through brushland until the trail ran out about 5 minutes. One of the guys I was with said, "See, told you there's nothing here." We agreed with him and started walking back up. 5 seconds later, in the distance, we heard a crack from a tree, like a branch snapped off. We shot our heads around, afraid of what might be there. There, falling from the top of the tree, was an object 3 to 4 times the size of a large dog. Full black head and orange body. Thudded onto the ground, hidden by bushes and shrubbery. The 3 people I was with freaked out and ran back to the campsite. I didn't. I stopped, waited to see for any movement or any sign of life. Nothing. A little creeped out, but I slowly walked back up to the run. We all looked at each other, confused and scared. We all saw it, whatever it was. We told everyone else, and they freaked out as well. Ended up telling them that we were joking. About a month later, I rode back to the camp with a friend to see if we could see anything. Again, nothing. To this day, nobody believes me. A dog ate my homework in 1st grade. It was macaroni art. Probably looked pretty tasty. I thought I was boned, but my mother, bless her soul, took a Polaroid of the dog proudly lording over my destroyed masterpiece and sent me off to school with it. Over a decade later, I stopped into the school with a friend to pick up his younger sister and ran into my old 1st grade teacher. She was excited to show me that the photo was pinned up to a corkboard. On the back, she'd written, "World's first documented case of dog eating homework." Next to it was a photo of a Nod spiral notebook. On the back, it was written, "Second documented case." It's actually pretty funny. I like that one. My weirdest true story was that's most likely not paranormal. Waiting for a city bus one day near an intersection. Perfectly normal day. Normal looking car drives past. As it approaches the traffic light, I notice there's a murder of around 30 crows flying behind the car, like one car length up in the air and one length behind. Car turns left at the traffic light. The crows turn left and follow it. Weirdest effing thing, and I couldn't get my phone out in time to take a video. It's like if the crows were balloons on a 15-foot string, and how tightly they were following that car. And it drives me crazy because I will never know what happened. Did the driver kill a crow? Was the driver a witch? What happened when the driver got out of the car, wherever they were going? That's pretty weird. When I was in college, I made a friend with this very cool, rich party dude guy. Sorry. We were very chummy. When the semester, along with the exams, ended, he invited me to his lounge. Straight out of dreams. Bowling, jacuzzi, pool table, etc. We were having fun. Then the rest of his rich friend dudes arrived, and they also got very chummy, despite being middle class. They then talked about the girls coming and how many my friend said 3 for each. To simply put, we were going to get a hot foursome each. Things were about to get hot. The girls had arrived, and then I saw one of the girls and looked into her eyes and saw nothing but fear. Probably just me overthinking, but I think that she got strung along with her alpha friends, so I couldn't stomach it and just told my friend that I'm not down for a foursome. Sorry and thanks for the party, and left. Yep, I turned down probably one of my only chances in life to have sex with pretty girls, and it's a foursome to boot, out of stupid sense of being a gentleman. Still chummy with the guy, though. Good guy. He understands. My girlfriend and her sister were all celebrating her birthday in the mountains. I was the designated driver and stayed sober the whole time anyways. We were having a good time when all of a sudden we heard a whistle in the forest. We heard it 3 times, but it was a different kind of whistle. It didn't sound human. The vibe was immediately ruined, and we packed all of our things and started heading back to the car. As we walked back, we saw the silhouette of a man on a hill maybe 100 feet away from us. We saw him shift from a man back into a dog, and then back into a man. All 3 of us were spooked and bolted right back to the car. I swear I don't know what I saw, but I know whatever it wasn't human. The creepiest part about it is that we all saw the same thing. Oh boy, here we go. First semester of college, one of the RAs had a pet blue crawfish that she joked was a lobster named Larry. We weren't allowed to have non-marine pets, so Larry quickly became the dorm mascot. About 2 weeks into the school thing, it jumps out of its tank in the middle of classes and dies. Obviously, the entire dorm is devastated. But this story, my friends, happened in Texas A&M, so you know some cult shit is about to go down. So we decided to hold a funeral service for Larry. Everyone dresses in blue, some guys came dressed in suits, and we all filed down into the dorm room where Larry's body is resting in a makeshift coffin for the viewing. After paying our respects, we begin a procession of over 100 people out of the dorm while someone plays silver taps. We stop at the dumpster, where the RA gives a moving speech to the massive crowd of people before yeeting Larry into the dumpster. When I was 6, I had this doll that always freaked me out because if you pulled a string, its hair grew. I threw it into my closet because it was really creeping me out one day. When I opened the closet door in the morning, it was standing straight up. You know, normal, right? I went to the bathroom, and when I came back, it was on its head. Everyone in the house was asleep, and I have no pets that could have moved it. Nobody ever believed me when I tell them. That's kind of freaky. All right. I've got a UFO story. I'm in my car with my 2 friends going to a Halloween party in 2019. We live in LA, driving on the freeway towards La Canada Flint Ridge. I'm in the back seat. To my right, there's mountains. I see a fluorescent blue ball of light in the sky above the mountains, but it's far in the distance to this point. I mention it to my friends, and they see it too, and we're speculating on what it could be. But they eventually talk themselves talk amongst themselves while I'm keeping an eye out. At this point in my life, I am really interested in UFOs. I had many experiences during this time. If you look at the sky often and long enough, you'll see strange things. So eventually, I have no clear view of it anymore. The mountains end up blocking my sight, so I go back to talking with my girls. As soon as we exit the freeway, we make a wide right turn. To our right, right in front of the mountains, is this weird blue light again. Only this time it's blue band across the dead-ass flying saucer. It's huge, metallic, and we all fucking saw it. But couldn't stop since there were other cars behind us. So we made a left onto the next street. Got out of the car, ran back down to the block, and there was a tiny blue light in the distance again. I'll never forget it. The driver, my best friend, had a hard time remembering it, which was odd because that's all we talked about the whole night. The other friend remembers vividly through as well. Anyways, it's just one of my UFO stories, but that was the closest encounter I've ever had, and I still don't even believe myself sometimes when I think about it. Another weird experience soon after happened. I stopped all contact, interest in UFOs and whatever the F going on up there. I had a bad gut feeling and just decided it wasn't something I needed to look into anymore. I'd experienced enough. Every once in a while, I'll see those crazy things doing zoomies in the sky. Something happened a few nights ago that really weirded me out. I'm a very light and fitful sleeper and wake up several times each night. Last night, I woke at the end of what I supposed was a dream, but it sure didn't feel that way. When I woke up, I idly and groggily realized that I had begun dreaming just a few seconds before. The dream hadn't entirely coalesced, and still was a jumble of images and feelings. Although dream time is notoriously inexact and malleable, I would estimate that I'd only been dreaming for 15 to 30 seconds. I began to drift back to sleep, trying to make sense of the dream images, when I suddenly jolted completely awake and sat up straight in my bed with a start. I realized that, in fact, I had been dreaming, or at least in some sort of altered state of consciousness, for a while, as I was very clearly and very suddenly remembered the last thing that had happened before drifting sideways into the jumbled proto-dream. A man whom I didn't recognize, whom seemed very concrete, very substantial, and very real, was hypnotizing or enchanting me, for want of a better word. He was telling me to sleep, to relax, to forget what I had seen and experienced, to believe that it was all just a dream that I had imagined. Try as I might, I could not remember anything I had dreamed that night before, this fragment of a memory. It was very unsettling, especially because this memory very clearly and very sharply began in the middle of something. There was no hazy lead-in to the man speaking. My memory of him begins in mid-sentence. I sat up in the dark for a while trying to make sense of what had just happened. I can remember his soothing yet somehow powerful, commanding tone telling me to forget. I can remember drifting from there into the short jumble of images and thoughts at the beginning of the normal dream state that he was encouraging me into. But I cannot remember a single thing about it that I was dreaming before. It really felt like I had unexpectedly woken up before I was supposed to, before the enchantment could fully take hold. Like I wasn't supposed to remember the fragment of memory that contained him, the fragment that began with him in mid-sentence, obviously at the very end of whatever he was trying to do or tell me. I was only supposed to remember the dream I was drifting into, nothing more. It's been really disturbing to me and on my mind since it happened. He seemed so real and so separate from me. It feels like someone made a mistake in letting me remember him. I woke up too early, when I wasn't supposed to. Who was this man? What did I see and experience that I can't remember now? How many times has this happened? Has it happened again since then? How would I even know? What have I forgotten? When I was 7, my family and I were in a village of our vacation home. It was in the middle of a pretty dense forest, so there were many animals, which I loved a lot. I was sitting on a porch eating strawberries, and I see a squirrel sitting on a railing, clearly being careful as to what I would have imagined a comfortable distance. I took a strawberry and placed it on the railing in front of me, still far away from it, and went inside. When I went back out, the strawberry was gone, so I assumed he took it. Next year we were back at the house, and once again out on the porch, eating sunflower seeds, and the exact same squirrel just casually jumps onto the railing, and sits right in front of me, looking at me expectantly. I put a generous amount of sunflower seeds on the table in front of me, and leaned back. After some time, it jumps onto the table and starts eating. I did start a little bit, but it was probably one of my best childhood memories. I was about 20 years old and driving home from work. At a red light, this guy moved his car in front of me and stopped, in the middle of traffic. As I was trying to move to the other lane, he cut me off and stopped again. I moved again to the other lane, and he did it again. I put my car in parking. Yes, that was very stupid of me, laugh out loud, and went to his window and said, "If you don't go back to your car, I'm going to kill you." I went back to my car, and he drove off. I had my cell phone in my car. I don't know why I didn't call the police. Nobody in my family believed me and said that probably he did that because I was driving like a maniac. I wasn't. I was at a red light. I was about 16 at the town mall. I was just about closing time, but I really had to use the restroom. So I go in to use the restroom. Just as I'm finishing, I hear the door open and hear a couple of footsteps. I notice two big red clown shoes right in front of the stall. I immediately get creeped the F out. I wait for what seems like forever before the person backs up. I then open the stall and see a freaking clown staring at me. Not moving, not saying anything, just looking at me. He looks like a creep fat version of it and with a fake smile printed on his face. I walk past him without even washing my hands and run out of the restroom and out of the mall to my car. A week later, I read the news article about how they bolstered mall security because a guy was stabbed outside the mall by a person wearing a clown outfit. See, clowns are pretty evil. Friday night, I went to a bar. Guy danced with me, brought me a beer, asked me outside. He asked me if I would like to go I said no, not in this lifetime. So he asked me if I would have sex in the parking lot. No, go back inside. Hope you find another. When I was 17, they were filming Groundhog Day in the town I was living in, Woodstock, Illinois. I was sitting in the newly built McDonald's having a burger and fries when in walks Bill Murray. I see him walk in. He sees me see him walk in. He walks right over to me, holding eye contact the whole way. He slowly reaches down, takes a fry out of my box and eats it. Then, as cool as you please, while shaking his head, says, "No one is ever going to believe you," and walks away. I still think about that look on his face as he said that. Now, I've either read that one before or I've heard that one before. I have heard that story, though. That does sound like something, that would happen now. I was in grade school. We were throwing a baseball around. This jerk kid threw it at my chest, and time completely stopped. Everything froze except the ball was still spinning. It lasted a few more moments, and then the ball hit me in the chest. Never have experienced that again. Some friends and I were hanging out after hours, drinking beers out of someone's trunk in the suburbs of Seattle. We were winding down, figuring how to get home, when a group of people wander up the street. The person in front breaks off and comes over to us, and it's Zach Galifianakis. Hope I pronounced that right. He grabs a beer without asking anyone and starts talking shit about us. Not even telling jokes. He's just like, "The F are you assholes doing out this late?" This is right after the hangover, and we were a little starstruck. But the moment someone asks for a picture, he pounds the rest of his beer, waves his entourage in, and he leaves. That felt pretty surreal. I slipped on an olive, which caused me to fall off a fence and cut my hand. See, there's a larger story there, and I really wish, they'd posted it, but they didn't. One time, the family's 4-month-old kitten went and took a dump in the toilet. No one ever tried to teach her that. She then panicked, realizing that she can't bury the evidence. The noise is how I found out. She's never done it again, but I had no idea that she was that smart or even could do it once. We actually had a cat that would do that. She recently passed away, unfortunately. She was quite a bit older, but when she was younger, she would pee in the toilet. She was the only one that ever did that, and she only did it a few times, but it was, no one ever taught her. Again, just, it was a very weird thing. I know people who have taught their animals, taught their cats to use the toilet, but this one she just did it. Ahsoka just, like, yeah, watch me. And she'd, because you'd leave the door open and you'd see it, and it's like, wow. Yeah. Anyway, so I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you liked it, leave a like. Go watch a few more. There's a whole bunch of these on my channel. Different topics, different stuff going on. Just a lot of variety. That's what I try to do. So anyway, thank you for listening and watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.